Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamerspro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. We already let y'all know we had this content coming. We put up a video, a story on our Instagram. If you're not following us on IG, my handle is CTABANZ. If you're not following the channel, it's Dreamerspro, same in the channel. Make sure you follow us on IG because we also communicate with a lot of our viewers there, right? But yo, I put up a story right before producing the show, and I said, yo, like, y'all got me hot with all of these disrespectful, crazy Michael Jordan takes that I'm seeing. And I was like, you know what? Enough is enough. And today we gotta give him that work. You know, you gotta give him that work. You know, y'all gonna get this work. You know, shout out to Loaded Lux. Y'all gonna get this work today because enough is enough. I'm tired of hearing the slander. I'm tired of the bad arguments. I'm tired of all of the crazy things that people are saying in sports media. And we gotta put a stop to this, right? We gotta put a stop to this. In Dreamerspro, we have to play our part in pushing back on some of these crazy narratives. And that's what we're going to do today. Now, as you guys know, a lot of people in the NBA community have been reacting to those crazy ass comments that Anthony Edwards said, where to sum it all up, he basically said Michael Jordan was the only player that had skill back then. That's essentially what he said. There was nothing else. There was nothing he added to the end of that. He didn't come back and say, oh, I forgot to say this. That's exactly what he said. And various people have been going out there giving their takes on it. You heard what Kevin Garnett had to say about it. He has some strong comments. A lot of us were waiting for people from that generation to step up to the plate and actually push back on some of this nonsense, because some of them, to be honest with you, have been playing into some of the nonsense that we've been seeing out there. But Kevin Garnett pushed back on it. So what happened? This morning I was on the internet and I came across some videos that was produced by, some articles that was produced by fadeawayworld.net. And these articles, they were saying that Gilbert Arenas was taking shots at Michael Jordan's era, taking shots at the competition he played against, just saying a bunch of crazy stuff. And I was like, nah, we got to say something about this. So what we want to do now is we want to play exactly what Gilbert Arenas had to say here, and I want to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to him here.
With that kind of jumping ability, and everybody else is 6'4". So think about everybody else who couldn't jump past 36 inches, right? Like if you really want, like if we really want to have this discussion about Jordan's competition, just go to this top 5 shooting guards in history. He didn't play against any of them. In their prime. Kobe's 2. But he had a young Kobe at
98.
90. Okay, Allen Iverson. Dwayne Wade, James Harden, T-Mac, Vince. Like he didn't, like, so when we talk about the top 10, the Jordan didn't face these guys. History is showing you who's who now because time has went by.
The chat is saying Clyde Drexler deserves a look at what he was doing.
For jumping ability, but did Clyde, like Clyde was athletic.
He was just gliding.
It was the glide.
Like he didn't.
Yeah, good post game.
But remember that, but that's what I'm saying. Back then, they had the dribble. That was different, right? So it's...
Why are you doing it like this, though?
For the most part,
he's saying they don't got no...
No, they're just rules, man.
We was passing the ball more back then. We wasn't handling it. Hey, get off the ball. That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to say, listen, you were handicapped by your time, man. It was the rule. So when you're looking at some guy who can go 200 miles an hour and they look at a car, that car at the time was going 100, that was fast as then.
Yeah.
Right? But a guy who's moving at 200... that is slow, right? Like, and that's all it really is. It's disrespectful, but you got to look at it from his engine now.
Yeah, especially when you're going to go get an old school car still buying old
muscle cars. Yeah.
Like if he said if like Kyrie and Dame and all them like, yo, we most skillful than the 2000, you're not gonna hear me be like, oh no, that's bust your ass. You're doing things that wasn't even available. We ain't even. Like it wasn't the double step back with the, like all that stuff wasn't available when I played. So yeah, you're more skillful than I was.
But could you me though? That's what they said. Like imagine it's like, hey, yeah, I hear all that, but young fella, you wouldn't be able to
yeah, but
you wouldn't be able to I hear you what you're saying, but I'll put your ass down there in that gas chamber, see what you did, see what it smell like.
But that's why I said when people talk about like could who stop who? You have to go with the evolution.
Yeah.
Right? Because, that's why I said when Grant Hill came in with the left to right crossover, they didn't even know what to do then. Hey, just come on, man. Right? So you got to keep everybody in the information that they have. So these guys don't have this information, right? These guys don't know what it is to play in the 80s and 90s. You needed a different skill. You needed to be cerebral, right? You had to be smarter about the game.
So you heard what Gilbert Arenas had to say there, right? I want to take my time with this show. I want to take my time. As you guys have been seeing, we've been producing some longer videos because I don't want to rush through the content no more. I really want to get all of my thoughts out on every single topic that we produce. But Gilbert Arenas was saying, and I don't know why he took it to this conversation because no one was talking about that. No one brought up athleticism and all of this other stuff. He said, and his comments were clear, Anthony Edwards said Jordan was the only player back then that has skills. He did not say Jordan was the only player back then that was athletic. He said he was the only player in his era that has skills. It's one of the reasons Magic Johnson reacted the way that he did. If he had said Jordan was the only one that had athleticism, I don't think Magic Johnson would have reacted with the fervor that he did when he was speaking to Stephen A. Smith. So that's the first thing. We want to keep it to what Anthony Edwards said. But since Gilbert Arenas decided to take it to a different direction, he's saying, who are the athletes that Michael Jordan played against? Number one, at his position. And number two, he said, who are the athletes that Michael Jordan played at his position? And Jordan never played against the greatest players in his position in the history of the sport, right? So he's saying that to say what? Because we went from Anthony Edwards saying that there was no skill to now saying that Jordan didn't play against any real I'm lost, right? And this is what happens when you try to make arguments in defense of crazy things that people like Anthony Edwards says. So he's saying that MJ basically was the only great athlete in his era. And therefore, because he had this extreme athleticism, he was able to dominate, especially at the two guard spot. Okay, so if that's your argument against Jordan, is Kevin Durant a better athlete than LeBron James? Is Stephen Curry a better athlete than LeBron James? Is Tim Duncan a better athlete than LeBron James? Is Kawhi Leonard a better athlete than LeBron James? No. LeBron is clearly the superior athlete to all of these people, but nevertheless, they beat him. They beat him. All of these guys I just mentioned that beat LeBron in the finals. All of them. So what does athleticism have to do with anything? What does athleticism have to do with anything? You're saying that Jordan had an athletic edge on his contemporaries. So therefore that meant what? By him having that edge, he was able to dominate them and win. But in the case of LeBron, he has an athletic edge on all of these people I just mentioned, but yet they've beaten him. So what does that mean? It means there's more to the conversation than simply Michael Jordan's sheer athletic ability. There's more to the conversation in that. But I want to take it a step further because he talked about who are the players, these freak athletes that Michael Jordan played against in his position. So I went back and I did some digging and I wanted to see who are the top forwards, small forwards, that LeBron James played in his position throughout the course of his career. Let's go through some of the names here. Rudy Gay, Gordon Hayward, Luol Deng, Paul Pierce. Was Paul Pierce an athletic marvel? I don't believe he was. Certainly not to the level that Jordan was, that LeBron was. Andre Iguodala, Carmelo Anthony. He was a bull, but he was not the athlete LeBron was, although he was athletic. But no one would say that Carmelo Anthony was on the same wavelength as an athlete as LeBron James was. Who else? Paul George, who was athletic, not as athletic as LeBron James. We can all agree on this. Kawhi Leonard, who was athletic, not as athletic as LeBron James. And Kevin Durant. Those are the top players that LeBron played at his position. Which one of those guys were freak athletes to the level that LeBron James was? Please, let's hear them. Let's hear these freak athletes that LeBron was going against, because somehow now this is being held as something against Jordan. So I want to propose your line of thinking, and let's apply it to LeBron James, who, for whatever reason, you seem to love to compare, love to defend. How does it work in the favor of LeBron James? What do we now think about LeBron? Do we think more of him or less of him? And I got to ask you, what do we think about MJ after listening to your argument? Are we meant to think more of him or less of him? Because if we're meant to think less of MJ, then we definitely need to think less of LeBron James. But I'm not done yet. I want to address the larger point that I think Gil is trying to convey here. I think what Gilbert Arenas is trying to convey is that ultimately, LeBron has had it harder, right? LeBron has had it harder than Michael Jordan has had it. And therefore, we need to view LeBron James in a different light because he's had to go through more difficulties in terms of the players he played against, in terms of the era that he played against, et cetera, versus MJ, who was basically dominating his entire era. And he was the real standout individual in his era versus LeBron James, who's had to really go up against some incredible athletes. So I decided to take it a step further here because I think this information needs to be out there. If we're gonna dig deep, then I think we really need to get into the nitty gritty of it. I want us to go through. All right, I want us to go through the all-star teammates that MJ played with throughout the 15 years he played in the NBA versus the all-star teammates, meaning players that have been named all-stars at one point or another in their NBA careers. Let's start off with Michael Jordan. Here are the players that I found. If you found more, you let me know. Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Horace Grant. All right? Their total combined all-star appearances amounts to 10. If I missed someone, you guys let me know. Let's move over to LeBron James. Let's see some of the all-star players he's played with throughout the course of his career. Kyrie Irving, Dwayne Wade, Mo Williams, Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, Carlos Boozer, Derrick Rose, Kevin Love, Russell Westbrook, Shaq, Ray Allen, Anthony Davis, Izrunas Ilgauskas, Wally Zerbiak, Chris Bosh, Rajon Rondo. After I tallied up the calculations, those guys amount to a total of 109. If you account for time that has gone on since I did that last calculation, it's above 110. Because some of these guys have made more all-star teams. Now, I want to take it a step further and let's look at the talent pool that MJ had to face versus the talent pool that LeBron James has had to face. Because I think this is where all of this is going. These people are saying, who did Michael Jordan face in his NBA career when he was playing basketball versus who has LeBron James faced in his NBA career since he's been playing basketball? And there seems to be this myth that needs to be dispelled right now that somehow LeBron has been playing against a higher level of competition versus Michael Jordan. So the best way I've been able to do this, because I don't know all of the NBA players that have played in the NBA throughout the course of both LeBron and Michael Jordan's career. So what I did was I said, you know what, let's distill this down to the 75 greatest players to ever play the sport. Let's distill it down to that list. And let's see, out of the 75 players that have ever played basketball in the NBA, let's see how many of these guys Jordan has played against, and let's see how many of these guys LeBron James has played against. Before we even get into that, I want to put up an image so you can see the anniversary team right now. So we're going to put it up for you guys to take a look at for a few seconds. You can pause the video, whatever, screenshot it so you have it next to you. If I got it wrong at certain points, you let me know. Let's get into this here. Let's look at some of the players MJ played against in the 90s. All right, top 75 guys. Ray Allen, Allen Iverson, Kevin Garnett, Charles Barkley, Rick Barry, Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant, Clyde Drexler, Patrick Ewing, Magic Johnson, Jason Kidd, Karl Malone, Reggie Miller, Hakeem Olajuwon, Dirk, Shaq, Gary Payton, David Robinson, Dennis Rodman, John Stockton, Isaiah Thomas, Dominique Wilkins, James Worthy, Steve Nash, Paul Pierce, and Tim Duncan. All of these guys are all on the top 75 list. And they all played in the 90s. Some of it overlaps, right? Some of it overlaps. Let's get to the 80s. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played in the 80s. Jordan came into the league in the 80s. Moses Malone and Kevin McHale. So Jordan, out of the top 75 players, and if I missed a player here or added a player there, you let me know. My tally was Jordan has played against a total of 29 of the 75 players to ever make the top 75 list. 29. Now let's look at who LeBron has played, and let's tally the amount of players he's played. So LeBron has played against Ray Allen, Hakeem Olajuwon, players in his era, Dirk Nowitzki, Shaq, Gary Payton, David Robinson, Rodman, Steve Nash, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Carmelo Anthony, Stephen Curry, Tim Duncan, James Harden, Jason Kidd, Damian Lillard, Reggie Miller, Chris Paul, Gary Payton, Karl Malone, Scottie Pippen, and Anthony Davis. According to my calculation, that is 27 players. According to the calculation I did for Jordan, I got 29 players. But let's cut it down the middle, and let's say they played against equal amount of talent. Let's say LeBron played against 27. Let's say Michael Jordan played against 27. What does this mean? It means that both MJ and LeBron played against virtually the same talent pool. Now, what's interesting, which I didn't include, was their ages. And when some of those guys retired, but you can do that on both players, on both sides. So I didn't want to do that to overcomplicate things. I did this to show you that both of these guys have gone up against a large talent pool. But if you leave it to the Gilbert Arenas of the world and some of these clueless NBA fans that run around twerking it up all over the internet, slapping each other with honey, just hollering and screaming, running through the woods, fighting bears for honey, just basically losing their damn minds, knocking over drinks all over coffee, just spilling drinks all over the table, they would have you believe, well, who did Michael Jordan play against? Well, it looks like from a talent perspective, they played against virtually the same amount of talent. Virtually the same amount of talent. But here's the fundamental difference. One guy was able to win more while the other wasn't. I repeat, one guy was able to win more while the other hasn't. And here's another wrinkle that I think is important that I outline right now. Jordan faced these players in a 15-year window. LeBron has faced these players in a 21-year window. Had LeBron played the exact amount of years that Michael Jordan played, one could make an argument that he would have played against less. We could make an argument. We could make an argument for this. We also have to bear in mind he's been playing for longer. So to Gil's initial point of trying to make a point about who were the top people that Michael Jordan played against in his career, in terms of the shooting guard position, different eras. Some eras had better big men than other eras. In Jordan's era, all right, you had players that maybe were not the best players at his position because he was the best, but there were other players that were great at other positions, like the point guard position, like Magic Johnson. You had other players that were good at the small forward position, like Larry Bird. But you also had some great two guards, like Clyde Drexler. You had great power forwards, like Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing. You had great centers, like Shaquille O'Neal, and many, many others. Who said that all of the talent needs to be at your specific position? Who said that? But if that's the argument you want to make, Gil, it sounds like you can be saying that Kobe Bryant is better than both Michael Jordan and LeBron James, because he's played against a plethora of talent, an ungodly amount of talent at his position and at other positions. Are you getting ready to say that Kobe Bryant is better than Michael Jordan because of that? No, that would be a crazy argument. So the question is, why are we making it now? Why are we making it now? I'll give you guys the final death blow here. And I mean that hypothetically, obviously, not really. We talk about the competition that LeBron has faced in the finals versus Michael Jordan. These people like hollering and screaming and twerking all over the table and slapping each other with honey, talking about, oh, he played against Thanos and these boys in the finals. Do you know? Are you aware that Michael Jordan and LeBron James have faced virtually the same amount of talent in terms of top 75 guys in the finals? I think LeBron has played against one more top 75 guy in the finals than Michael Jordan. But if you count all of the top 75 teammates LeBron has played with, it's egregious. It's egregious. It's egregious. So what I've come to realize is that Gil is now annexing himself to these crazy fringe opinions. And I don't know why he's doing it. I don't know why he's doing it. Gil calls himself a basketball historian, but nevertheless, he likes to associate himself with these crazy takes. Crazy takes. The only people that are making these takes are uninformed NBA fans, like Anthony Edwards. So why would you try to associate yourself with these crazy positions? These guys are clueless. They're clueless. Anthony Edwards, by his own admission, is clueless. He said it. I don't know enough to talk about it. Means you are clueless. So why would you defend a guy that is clueless? Why would you associate yourself with that kind of nonsense? I don't understand this. And here's the part that kills me. Gil gets upset with people that say, and calls that always say negative things about LeBron and calls them LeBron haters. That's what he calls them. But all Gil has been doing recently is hating on Michael Jordan. This, if somebody was saying this about LeBron James, you would say that they're a hater. And his followers would say that you're a hater. But in the case of Jordan, it's like it's fair game. Because after all, it's Jordan. I mean, at the end of the day, no matter what I say, it's not going to really change anyone's mind. So let's just go ahead and just say ridiculous things about him. Let's just go ahead and do it. Let me ask you, if Michael Jordan wasn't as great as we think he is, why is LeBron James spending his entire life trying to catch him? I'll repeat. If Michael Jordan is not as great as we think he is, why is LeBron James spending every waking hour of his life trying to supplant Michael Jordan at the top? Why? If he's not as good as we think he is, why is LeBron spending so much time trying to convince people that he's better than this guy? Why are there so many people in media spending so much time and resources to convince NBA fans, especially young, impressionable, uninformed NBA fans, that LeBron is on the same level? Why would you waste your time in that fool's errand? Why? It means that Jordan was the real deal. And I'm going to give it to y'all straight up like this. I'm giving it up like this today. I don't think LeBron is better than Kobe Bryant. The only reason I put Kobe 3 is out of respect for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and his accomplishments. I don't think he is. And guess what? A lot of basketball players that played in the NBA agree with me. There are more NBA players that agree with me than would not agree with me. There are more. You notice on every NBA player, when they ask them their top 5, do you notice how Kobe always end up there? Some of you LeBron fans, y'all ever ask yourself, why is that possible? How is that possible? What you think, Kobe? Why you think Kobe up there for? Why you think? These dudes know, these cats know that when it came to playing ball, there was nothing like Kobe outside of Michael Jordan. There was nothing like him. And I'm going to hip y'all up to some game right quick. For the LeBron fans sitting there hollering and screaming and slapping each other with honey, bursting through doors, kicking down doors, gyrating all over people. Y'all think LeBron played against great competition? Kobe Bryant beat more 50-win teams than LeBron James did. Are you aware of that? I know the vast majority of you are not. The honey ran out. Malfunction. Y'all got to go lather yourself up with some more honey to keep the cogs flowing. Y'all done ran out of honey. Do y'all know that? Do you know Kobe beat more 50-win teams in 2 seasons than Magic Johnson did in his entire NBA? Y'all know that? I mean, y'all know that. You know there's a reason why they say Kobe the man, right? So I just want to leave that and for y'all to take this one with y'all on the way out. LeBron ain't messing with Jordan, and he for damn sure not messing with Kobe. I said it. I don't know what Gilbert Arenas says Kobe Bryant is his favorite player of all time. Right? He said Kobe Bryant is his, and I hope he sees this video. I'll probably send it to him. He said Kobe Bryant is his favorite player of all time. That's what he said. But he has LeBron ahead of Kobe. And do you know why he has LeBron ahead of Kobe? Because of stats. But I've heard Gilbert Arenas say that when we're judging players, we're not judging them off of stats, but then uses stats to then put LeBron ahead of Kobe. Help me figure it out. You're a basketball player. You played in the NBA. You've played against Kobe Bryant. You played against both of these dudes. Who was nicer, son? Forget about these stupid stats. Who was nicer? I know, we all know, and I think you know the answer is Kobe. Just wanted to put that out there. And I think Jordan is better than Kobe. So if Kobe better than LeBron, how in God's name is LeBron on Michael Jordan's level? Like, let's cut the nonsense. As you guys know, LeBron fans are a special group. These fellows are unique, right? They sit there and they twerk it up all day long. They run around the internet looking for people that are saying negative things about him. And then they just basically fight you in the comment section. Like, LeBron fans do not play when it comes to, they don't joke around with, they don't play with him. It's not a game with these dudes. As I said in some of the previous shows we produced over the last week, I've seen LeBron fans fall out with each other because one of them had a strong opinion or two about LeBron, and they're both LeBron fans. The other one goes, no, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. How dare you not twerk with me all the time? I mean, what's wrong with you? Did you run out of honey? Why didn't you let me know? Why didn't you let me know there was no more honey? I could have given you a year's supply. So you'd be rubbing it all over your belly while you holler and scream LeBron James's name. This is what they do. And they in the corner sitting there beating their meat with a bucket of honey next to them, looking at LeBron highlights. And the minute one of them said one thing, they was like, no, bring him in. We got to correct him. We got to correct him. Something is wrong. Something is wrong with this guy. So what happened? Yesterday, I was going through the internet and a video was recommended to me. The thumbnail alone had me on the floor. Okay. And the title. We want to put up the thumbnail and the video itself. And it's from the channel Commissioner Dynamo. And he had the following thumbnail. I am the GOAT now this is hilarious. And then he wrote, LeBron calls himself GOAT again, and humility is punching the air. The title alone had me cracking up. So what happened? I clicked on the video to see what this gentleman was talking about. And what ensued was just absolutely pure, unadulterated comedy. And it's important that I preface these comments by saying this. This guy is a LeBron guy, and he has LeBron James, for whatever reason, I don't know why, as the second greatest player of all time. I want you guys to listen to a LeBron James fan express his total disgust of LeBron James and his ridiculous antics. Take a listen to what this gentleman had to say here.
He'll always be his dad, he'll always be his son, but what's your working relationship? Is he gonna call you dad at practice?
You can't, we already laid that down. You cannot call me dad in the workplace. Once we leave out of the private facility and the gates close, I could be dad again. You gotta call me like 2-3 or Brian.
Okay.
Or, GOAT if you want to. That's up to him.
I'm merely criticizing someone's arrogance. A certain someone in particular who just so happens to be on my number 2 of all-time NBA players, second to Jordan. But he makes it so damn hard to root for him. His excuses, passive aggressiveness, and flapping irritates me to no end. But I don't hate him. Unlike some, I don't hate him. I very much enjoyed his performance in the Olympics. He was incredible. He was a leader on and off the floor. And there were multiple games Team USA would have lost had it not been for his efforts. To see LeBron and Curry finally play alongside each other with Durant in tow, and to watch Sith Curry put an entire nation to sleep? This man quite literally said before our very eyes he would rather his own son call him GOAT than dad. as if calling him dad on the court or in the locker room is somehow more cringe or unsettling than calling him GOAT. Bro, it's not that deep. He's just joking. No, it's not. This man is the only one I have ever been okay with saying they were the greatest. The same goes to Bill Russell, if he had said it, but he never did. These two men had more than enough accolades to call themselves the greatest, but it wasn't just because of what they did in their professional sports career. It is because of what they faced, what they suffered through, and how they pushed the human condition forward. What these two men did was far greater than anything Jordan has ever done. I do not give a damn if it's contradictory. Unless you're these two men, and particularly Muhammad Ali, the words "I am the greatest" should never enter your lexicon. These men broke down racial barriers, social economic barriers, greatness on and off the court in the ring. They damn near needed armed security and bulletproof vests to play sports. Meanwhile, LeBron can't handle nor will engage in one-on-one practice.
When you go to Team USA, like, you damn near like sizing everybody up. It's cool to be out here. We all cool, but when practice starts, you seeing how them up and what they do post-practice. Everybody's still competitive, and you still like trying to see what everybody, what they doing. So it definitely, it would get like that for sure.
If coach come in and he's just like, you know how to do the football drill, the ring of fire, where they just call out two names and they got to go at it like head to head. Coach comes in, he's just like, JT, Bron, the 10, let's go. You shoot for ball. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Bron ain't playing.
Bro, like, yo, fuck out of here.
What?
You know, he's on the my ankle playing again.
It'll be JT, Ant, KD,
KD play. Book.
Stafford jump in there a little bit.
Kawhi play. I think you would.
Who's sitting out?
I just told you.
I feel confident because I'm the best player in the world. That's simple.
So you heard him. I mean, you heard him. What amazes me is this. This guy was actually pointing out the things that turn off a lot of NBA fans about LeBron. A lot. And somehow, some way, he found a way to hold on. Seriously, when we came up with the concept to shoot this video, I was sitting there thinking to myself as I was working, I'm like, how did they do it? How do LeBron fans do it? How did they do it? How did they do it? How do they do it? What do they see that we don't see? I'm trying to find out, what do LeBron fans see that we don't see? I'm trying to figure it out. Like, you sit down, you think about it, and you're like, man, I don't get it. Y'all feeling this? Y'all be feeling that? For real, y'all feeling that? You feeling this dude he got his wife on TV talking about y'all feeling that? Don't call me. You can call me 23, or you can go ahead and call me the GOAT. Y'all feeling that? It is so cringe. Y'all feeling that? Y'all be feeling that? Y'all be vibing with that? Y'all like that? I mean, y'all really jacking LeBron? I just don't get it. And his fans were in the comment section basically hollering and screaming. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I really don't. They love it. I mean, first of all, let's get back to his comments. The guy said, you can call me ain't nobody calling no damn LeBron James no damn 23. Like, what are we even talking about? Who is calling LeBron James 23? Who? Call me. You go ahead and call me 23. Yeah, all right. We're going to call you 23. Ain't nobody calling LeBron 23. And he said, some of y'all going to be like, oh, well, he just playing. He just joking. Then you got this dude, Commissioner Dynamo, basically. First of all, that's a hilarious name. Commissioner Dynamo going out there and saying, he's not. And then you know what he did? He started giving more examples of these antics. You heard what he said? Well, we're going to do it because I'm the best player in the world. It almost sounded like as if he was trying to convince himself and try to get validation from people. That's what it sounds like to me. To me, this incessant need to get people to call you to go, it shows that you really don't believe it. It shows that you don't believe it. to be quite frank with you. If you got $1 billion, you don't need nobody to confirm that. You got $1 billion. If a joker run up to you on the street talking about you broke because you got on some flip-flops, some gym shorts, and a white tee, you're like, you look at this bum ass, you know what? He ain't got no money and he dressed in all whatever the hell he dressed in, but you got $1 billion sitting in the bank. If you sit there and argue with his ass, you ain't got $1 billion. Because if you got $1 billion, you don't need to prove nothing to nobody. You know you already you know what I'm saying? You already it. It's within you. You know it. Number one. And number two, other people will be validating like, yo, he got it. He a baller. That's a big boy, right? Like that's a big boy. Forget how he dressing. He just being low key today. Forget how he's moving. Yeah, he brought out the Tesla. Don't get it twisted. He got about 4 or 5 Bugattis parked around. Don't get it twisted. He probably just don't want attention, or he don't feel like flossing today. He got it. So for you to feel like you gotta, I'm the king. Remind me I'm the king. It's like, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? I don't know. Shout out to Commissioner Dynamo. I don't know who he is, but that video was hilarious. LeBron fans, discuss this amongst yourselves. What do you think? How do y'all feel? And matter of fact, I want to go out with this question. LeBron fans, let me just answer this for me. The question is, LeBron fans, y'all really like this? Nick Wright to me is one of, or if not, the biggest trolls that we got going. And it's not even a joke. I mean 100% of what I'm saying. I mean that. I don't think Nick Wright believes the vast majority of what he says. I just think he goes out there and says things to piss people off, troll them, get their blood boiling, and then just say things. All right? Just says crazy things. Nick Wright, the day I stopped taking Nick Wright seriously was when he said, and I remember it, was the day he said that at no point in Kobe's career was he ever viewed as the best player in the world. Up until that point, I had never heard an a sports fan, an NBA fan say that. The second person I've heard say something like this is Draymond Green. Those are the two people I've heard in the history of talking basketball say those ridiculous things. But it was from that point that I realized I can't take this guy seriously. And then time went on, and then we found out that Nick Wright is being represented by Clutch, but I think he said it himself. And then therefore we begin to understand why he says some of the crazy stuff that he says about Michael Jordan on a daily basis. But apparently he just doesn't limit himself to saying these type of things in the NBA world. Apparently he does this when he's discussing other sports. And it seems like Bill Simmons from The Ringer basically came out and called out Nick Wright on an article that we unearthed this morning from awfulannouncing.com, where he basically accuses Nick Wright of being a damn hot take artist. So let's get into what this article had to say here. It starts off with the headline saying, Bill Simmons accuses Nick Wright of just throwing crazy takes out hoping to get aggregated. It's been a bit since Bill Simmons entered the ring with a sports media rival, but the sports guy is back. During the latest episode of the Bill Simmons podcast, going through the NFL win total over unders for the AFC, Simmons took a pop shot at FS1 host Nick Wright over Wright's propensity for hot takes. Not only did Simmons accuse Wright of throwing unsubstantiated bold opinions out for attention, he did it while simultaneously making the case for C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans to dethrone Wright's beloved Kansas City Chiefs. Defending his excitement for the Texans this season, Simmons said, the case for Houston being KC in the AFC title game or round 2, whenever it happens for me, because I was really trying to think, do I really believe this? I don't want to do like Nick Wright. I'm just throwing crazy takes out hoping to get aggregated. Sorry, Nick. Simmons continued by stating that he was bullish on Houston's regular season bona fides and home field advantage over the Chiefs, but the damage was already done. Now, that's what Bill Simmons said there. I want to give you guys an example of the practical application of what Bill Simmons is talking about as it pertains to Nick Wright. Because this is exactly what Nick Wright did, I personally believe, to turn himself into a household name. Back in 2017, May of 2017, Nick Wright and Chris Carter went on Undisputed back when Shannon Sharp and these guys were there. I believe Joy Taylor was the host at the time. So they invited him on to talk about LeBron James versus Michael Jordan. And at the beginning of the segment, Nick Wright began to speak. And he started off with one of the most ridiculous GOAT arguments you will ever hear, quote, you will ever hear anyone say on television. And it was these comments that put him on the map. And if you go look at the video today on YouTube, that video has about 3.5 million views. It's his most viewed video on YouTube. So for those of you who don't remember the craziness that Nick Wright spewed all over the desk that day, I want to play it for you now. It's only about a minute clip or so, and I'm going to come back and react to this comment. Take a listen to that there.
Nick, what would it take for LeBron to pass Jordan as the GOAT?
Get him, all right, so if we're talking about accomplishments, he needs at least a couple more rings, probably one more MVP. But if we're talking about accomplishments, Jordan's not the GOAT, it's Kareem. And if it's not Kareem, it's probably Russell. So we're not really talking about accomplishments. We're talking about who's the best. Who's the best? One game to decide your life. Who do you want in all-time history? So for LeBron to pass Jordan, he needs a time machine to go back about 11 months when he passed him the first time. LeBron's been the best player ever since about midway point of Game 6 of last year's finals, and all he's done since then is continue that. He's on the greatest streak in postseason history since Dre called him the B word and Clay said his feelings were hurt. He's played 16 games. His team's 15-1, giving you 34, 9, 8, and 55% shooting. And when we're just comparing the two players, LeBron averages more rebounds, assists, blocks, steals than Jordan, shoots a better percentage from 2, shoots a better percentage from 3, is the more versatile defender, can guard all 5 positions. He can do everything Jordan could do, but better. So what does he need to do to pass Michael Jordan? He already done past Michael Jordan as far as who's the best player ever.
So you heard what Nick Wright had to say, right? That's what he had to say. At the time when he said that, what we call that today, I don't think there was a term for it then, but there's a term for it now. It's called rage bait. You ever heard of clickbait? Clickbait is when you promise one thing and you do something else. Rage bait is when you say something that will infuriate people and then they now react to you. And all of a sudden you've generated attention for yourself, which you then can monetize if you know how to do it properly. Those are rage bait comments. Something to get people annoyed. Then they now tune in to try to hear what you're saying and then cuss you out or whatever. And before you know it, you're building yourself a platform. That's what Nick Wright did. That is exactly what, and he didn't stop. He hasn't stopped ever since then. Nick Wright even came out there and said that during the top 75 anniversary night in Cleveland, when Jordan came out and got a standing ovation, Nick Wright came out and said that was the last night that Michael Jordan would ever be relevant. That was the last moment he will ever be relevant. This is what Nick Wright said. He said that was the last moment that Michael Jordan will be relevant. And Nick Wright is a Clutch Sports guy. So if you want to know where this is coming from, it's coming from Clutch Sports. They are obsessed with Michael Jordan. I don't understand the obsession with Jordan. I don't understand this obsession. They are obsessed with Michael Jordan. And the irony is, he pays no mind to these people. I was recently listening to an audio of Allen Iverson where he was talking about what it was like when Michael Jordan came to the top 75 anniversary event. And he said, when Michael Jordan walked in the room, he said all 74 of the other players, well, 73 minus, no, yeah, all 74, let's go with his word. All of the other players realized that the GOAT was there. He said the entire energy of the room shifted the moment MJ walked in the room. The moment he walked in, you're talking about the greatest players to ever play this sport. At that moment, they came to the realization, the best guy's here, the best player's here. The GOAT is here. And the energy in the room was palpable. He said you could actually feel it. Wasn't nobody saying that about no damn LeBron James, despite his efforts. Hurt your art, you don't get that honor. Shout out to Shine. It hurts your heart you don't get that honor. What am I talking about? Even when Jordan walked out, he got the biggest applause in Cleveland. Do you know how embarrassing that is? Do you know how painful that is? When you spend all of your time walking around crowning yourself as the king, you got people like Nick Wright on TV slapping each other with honey all day on a daily basis, hollering and screaming, and at the end of the day, you can't convince nobody of it. Do you know how painful that is? Nick Wright was there crying on TV talking about people made more of a big deal when Kobe passed Jordan than when LeBron passed Hakeem. It's because they don't love you like that, my boy. They don't love you like that. Get it through your head. They don't love you like that. They're not feeling you like that. It's like the rich guy with money, all the money in the world, and he's trying to figure out why the women not in, because they ain't got the swag, son. You ain't got the glow. You ain't got it. You just don't have it. If you ain't got it, you ain't got it. You're like, why didn't they care about LeBron when they cared about Kobe Bryant? I mean, they made more of a big deal of Kobe passing Jordan than they did of LeBron. Just sitting there whining and complaining, hollering and screaming, twerking it up all over the place, spilling drinks all over the table, interrupting the show. They got to cut the commercial break because you done spilled the honey all over the table. So these guys, their only hope now is just to say crazy things. But to have a contemporary of it, because a lot of people feel this, by the way. A lot of people feel this. But to have Bill Simmons come out here and say this, well, then there you have it. These are one of your own contemporaries within the space. They say, look, this guy just goes out there and says crazy things to get clicks and views.